She looked me dead in the eye and said, "If my friend's jokes bother you so much, maybe you should just pay and leave." So I did. I thanked her for the option, got up and walked out, right in the middle of her promotion dinner. First, everyone thought I was bluffing. Then they realized I had only paid for my own meal and wasn't coming back. Now I'm sitting alone in my car, staring out the windshield, just trying to process what the hell just happened. We've been together for 3 years. I was proud of her promotion. I picked the restaurant, offered to pay for everyone. I wanted to make it a special night. But her friends made it a roast and I was the target. Again. And when I looked to her for support, she laughed along with them. Then gave me an exit. So I took it. I don't know what happens next. But this night changed everything. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "If my friend's rude jokes bother you so much, then maybe you should just pay the bill and walk out." I nodded and replied, "Well, I appreciate the option." Then I got up, grabbed my car keys from the table, and walked straight out of the restaurant without another word. She thought I was bluffing, until the laughter at the table fizzled out, and her friends realized I had only covered the cost of my own meal. I'm 29, a guy just trying to make sense of things, and at that moment, I had walked away from what was supposed to be a celebratory dinner. Now I'm just sitting alone in my car, staring out the windshield, trying to wrap my head around everything that just went down. My girlfriend Lauren, she's 28, and I have been together for 3 years. Tonight, she handed me a perfect exit on a silver platter, and I didn't hesitate to take it. Here's a little backstory. Lauren and I first met at a housewarming party thrown by a mutual friend. She was sharp, funny, full of drive, and working as a marketing coordinator at the time. We hit it off right away, clicked like magnets. After a year and a half of dating, we decided to move in together. For the most part, things were solid between us, except for one recurring issue, her circle of friends. Her tight-knit crew consists of 3 women she's been close with since college: Allison, 29, Mia, 28, and Nicole, 27. They've always been kind of intense, the type who love to dominate a room. At first, it was tolerable, but over time, their behavior started to cross the line. They constantly made me the punchline of their jokes. At first, it was just little digs, harmless stuff about my job. I'm an electrician, by the way. Then it moved on to my hobbies. I restore old motorcycles and even what I wear. I brushed it off in the beginning. Lauren would laugh along with them in public, but later she'd tell me they didn't mean anything by it. Tonight was supposed to be about celebrating Lauren's promotion. She had just been promoted to senior marketing coordinator, and I was truly proud of her. I suggested we celebrate at this upscale steakhouse downtown, and I offered to pick up the tab for everyone. I wanted it to be a special night for her. At first, it felt like a good night. Drinks came, appetizers were shared, everyone was chatting and having a decent time. Then Allison opened her mouth. "So, Ethan's still playing with wires for a living? Must be nice having such a basic job. Bet you don't even have to think too hard." "Huh?" I gave her a polite smile and replied, "Actually, being an electrician takes a good amount of critical thinking and problem solving." Before I could finish my thought, Mia jumped in. "Oh, please. It's not like you need a college degree. Lauren's climbing the corporate ladder while you're..." "What is it again? Tinkering with old bikes?" "I restore vintage motorcycles," I said calmly. "Just finished working on a '78 Honda." Nicole snorted and added, "And how much cash do you blow fixing up those rust buckets?" Then came the kicker. "Lauren girl," Nicole said, turning to her. "You can do way better. Remember Eric from that conference? Now he was going places." I glanced at Lauren, hoping for something, anything, but she just smiled and shook her head like they were being silly. Not once did she speak up or have my back. The jabs kept coming all through dinner. They mocked my hands-on hobbies, joked about how I probably couldn't grasp Lauren's fancy marketing strategies. And Allison even flat out said I should feel lucky Lauren was willing to date below her level. But the moment that really pushed me over the edge came when Mia leaned in and said, "Seriously, Laure, when are you finally going to upgrade? Ethan's sweet, sure, but come on, you're destined for executive life and he's just, you know." I slowly put my fork down. Lauren sighed like she was exhausted. "Ethan, come on. They're just messing around." I looked at her and said, "Well, it doesn't really feel like a joke to me." That's when Nicole chimed in, laughing. "Oh my God. Is he really getting emotional? What, are we gonna make you cry now?" Kept my cool. "I'm just not okay with this," I told them. And that's when Lauren gave me that look, calm, firm, and said, "If you can't handle my friend's sense of humor, you're free to just pay and leave." The table went dead silent for a moment. Then Allison let out a snort and started laughing. "She actually said it?" she giggled. I stood up and said, "Appreciate the option," pulled out my wallet, did some quick math to cover my meal and a decent tip, and laid the cash down right there on the table. "This covers what I had," I said plainly. Lauren rolled her eyes at me like I was throwing a tantrum. "Ethan, seriously? Sit down. Don't make this a scene." I picked up my car keys without another word. "Hope you all enjoy the rest of your dinner." As I walked away, the laughter picked back up. I could hear Mia behind me saying, "He'll be back in 5 minutes. Just wait." But I didn't go back. I got to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and just stared out the windshield for a while. About 10 minutes later, my phone lit up. First came Lauren's texts. "Real funny. Come back and pay the rest of the bill." Then, "This isn't cute anymore, Ethan." And finally, "Wait. Are you actually serious right now?" I didn't respond. Just started the engine and headed home. The texts kept coming. Apparently, the tone changed fast when the server dropped off the check. The total came out to nearly $400. They'd ordered top-tier steaks, round after round of cocktails, plus dessert, and I had only left $60 to cover my own meal and tip. On the drive home, Lauren called me 15 times. I let every call go to voicemail. By the time I pulled into our apartment complex, she'd already left 3 voicemails, each angrier than the last. Now I'm back at the apartment, grabbing some clothes and a few essentials. Not sure what comes next, but one thing's for sure. I'm done being everyone's punching bag. Update 1. Didn't get much sleep last night. Ended up crashing at my buddy Dylan's place after I swung by the apartment to pack a bag with clothes and toiletries. Lauren kept blowing up my phone all night with messages. "I can't believe you embarrassed me like that. My friends think you're a joke. You walked out and left me with a $400 bill. How could you do that? Send me the money on Venmo. Now, answer your damn phone." Then, around 2 a.m., her friends decided to jump in. Allison sent a long-winded message accusing me of being financially abusive for supposedly tricking them into thinking I was footing the bill. Mia called me a petty loser. Nicole? She sent me a $100 Venmo request with the note, "For emotional damages." Blocked all 4 of them and tried to get some rest. Woke up this morning to someone knocking hard on Dylan's door. It was Lauren. Dylan, being the legend he is, cracked the door just enough and told her I wasn't there. She didn't buy it for a second. "I know he's inside. His truck's out front." Dylan stayed cool. "Maybe he parked here and took an Uber. I haven't seen him." She stood outside for about 20 minutes, switching between banging on the door and calling my phone, which she couldn't get through to because I'd blocked her. Before she finally stormed off, she shouted one last time through the door, "This is so immature. Ethan, you can't just run away from your responsibilities." Responsibilities? All I did was pay for what I ate. That's the only responsibility I had at that dinner. Dylan made some coffee and we sat down to talk it all through. He's been telling me for a long time now that Lauren's friends were toxic and that she just let them walk all over me. "Dude," he said, "you remember your birthday dinner when they mocked your mom's accent? Or that thing they said about your sister's wedding being cute for a budget event? That was messed up." He's right. I've been brushing off way too much for way too long. Around 10 a.m., I started getting calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I finally picked up one. It was Lauren calling from her work phone. "Ethan, we need to talk." I said, "All right, go ahead." "No, not like this. Come back home so we can talk in person." "I'm good where I'm at." "You're being ridiculous," she snapped. "So your feelings got a little hurt. My friends were just joking. You embarrassed me in front of everyone and stuck me with that huge bill." I told her, "I paid for my meal, Lauren. You literally told me I could pay and leave. So I did exactly what you said." There was a pause before she blurted out, "I didn't think you'd actually leave. Who even does that? Someone who's had enough of being disrespected." She shifted gears real quick. "Baby, please, I'm sorry, alright? They went too far. Let's just talk. Come home. Can you at least send me money for last night? I had to put the whole bill on my credit card. I kept my voice calm. No, Lauren. You invited everyone out to celebrate your promotion. Then you sat there while your friends tore me apart the entire evening and laughed along with them. I'm not paying for that. This is insane. You can't just. I ended the call. She started blowing up my phone again, calling from every number she could think of. I stopped answering completely, but then something unexpected happened. I got a message from an unknown number. Yo, this is Jared, Nicole's boyfriend. Just wanted to say I heard about what happened. And honestly, good for you, man. They've been trash-talking you for years. Nicole showed me the group chat and... yeah, you did the right thing. Just a heads up, they're all over at Lauren's place right now, cooking up some kind of revenge plan. Revenge? For what? Refusing to be their personal wallet. I've decided to lay low at Dylan's place for a few more days while I figure out my next move. The lease is in both our names, but I'm the one who's been covering most of the rent. Naturally. Gonna have to sort that out sooner rather than later. What really gets under my skin, though, is that Lauren still hasn't apologized. Not once has she said anything about her friend's behavior or how messed up it all was. No reflection. No remorse. All she's focused on is the money. And the embarrassment of being left with the bill. Update 2. So yeah, turns out their revenge wasn't just talk. It happened. And honestly, it's both pathetic and infuriating. Let's start with the silver lining. I swung by the apartment while Lauren was at work to grab more of my stuff. When I got there, I noticed a little surprise on the front door. A formal noise complaint. Apparently, the girls' strategy session got loud enough Monday night that multiple neighbors complained. That's now officially on our rental record. Great. Inside, the place looked like a frat house after a weekend bender. Empty wine bottles all over the floor, takeout containers piled on the counters. And my PlayStation? Gone. Found it later, tucked away in her closet like she was holding it hostage. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Turns out she'd been rummaging through my toolbox. A few of my specialty electrical tools gone. I found out through a mutual friend that she'd listed them on Facebook Marketplace. My Klein voltage tester kit? Sold. My Fluke multimeter? Gone. All in all, about $400 worth of gear posted cheap and fast. I took screenshots of every listing just in case. Then I walked into my project room, and that's when I saw it. She'd gone after my bike. The 1978 Honda CB750 I've been restoring for the past year? She had it up on Craigslist. Mechanic special. Needs work. $2,000 OBO. Must go ASAP. That bike, even in its current condition, is worth at least $6,000. Once it's finished, it could sell for close to 10 grand. And let's not forget, it's mine, not hers. She doesn't get to sell what doesn't belong to her. I called the police on the non-emergency line, explained everything. The officer said it was a complicated situation since we're cohabiting, but made it clear. Selling someone else's personal property without their permission is considered theft. They advised me to take photos of everything and file a report. So I started documenting. Took pictures, saved listings, everything. While I was in the middle of that, I got a text from my landlord. Hey Ethan, need to talk to you about the lease. Lauren called saying you abandoned the apartment and she wants you off the lease. Also, we received a noise complaint. Please give me a call. I didn't wait. I called him immediately. Mr. Patel's been my landlord for 3 years. He's always been fair and respectful. He answered and said, She told me you moved out and you're refusing to pay rent anymore. I've only been gone for 3 days because of a domestic situation. I told him, I'm not abandoning the apartment. Actually, I'm here right now. He said, Lauren made it sound like you'd been gone for weeks. Between you and me, I'd rather keep you as the tenant. You've never been late on rent or had complaints until now. If you want to take over the lease by yourself, I'm open to that. I asked, what about her? He explained, she'd have to agree to be removed, or you'd both have to break the lease. But Ethan, that noise complaint is a serious issue. One more and I could start eviction proceedings. That got me thinking. After I finished documenting everything, I moved my bike out of the apartment and took it over to Dylan's garage. I grabbed all my tools that hadn't been sold yet. I left behind anything we had bought together and only took what was mine before the relationship started. That evening, Lauren came home and caught me loading the last box into my truck. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Moving my stuff somewhere safe since you're selling it without my permission." She crossed her arms and said, "I needed money to pay for that dinner you walked out on. So you stole my tools?" "No, it's not stealing. We live together. What's yours is mine." "That's not how it works, Lauren," I said. She stood there in her work clothes, arms crossed. Just then, Allison's car pulled up. "Of course. You're not seriously ending things over one dinner, are you?" I shook my head. "It's not just about one dinner. It's about 3 years of your friends disrespecting me while you let it happen. It's about you telling me to leave if I didn't like it. And it's about you stealing from me after I trusted your word." Allison stepped out of her car. "Oh good. The loser's here. Ethan, you owe Lauren $400. I kept loading my stuff. "No, I don't." "Yes, you do. You invited everyone out and then I paid for my share when I was told to leave. That's exactly what I did." Allison looked at Lauren and said, "See? I told you he was too proud. Blue-collar guys always have fragile egos." I actually laughed. "My ego's fine. I just finally know my boundaries." I finished loading the last box and shut the truck. Lauren grabbed my arm. "Ethan, please, let's talk about this." "We are talking. I'm telling you, I'm done. I'll sort the lease this week. You should find a new roommate. Maybe one of your friends, since they're so ambitious and successful." "You're really just throwing away 3 years?" "No, you did that. I'm just done subsidizing it." I drove off, both of them watching me go. Honestly, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted. That night, she called from different numbers, trying again. Finally, she left a voicemail. "You're right. Okay? My friends crossed the line. But you didn't have to be so harsh. Please come home. We can fix this. I love you." Too little. Way too late. Final update, wrapping up this ridiculous saga. After moving my stuff out, I filed a police report for the stolen tools, including screenshots of her Facebook Marketplace posts and my original receipts. It was pretty straightforward. The officer said they'd follow up with her. I also met with Mr. Patel about the lease. Lauren wasn't having it at first. She refused to be taken off the lease, thinking she had some kind of leverage. What she didn't know was that I'd been keeping records of everything. Turns out, selling stolen stuff online leaves a pretty obvious trail. And when you rack up 3 noise complaints in just 2 weeks, yeah, she kept having her friends over for support. Break the lease by selling someone else's property and start harassing other tenants. Well, Mr. Patel has ways to handle that. She'd also been bugging Dylan, trying to find out where I was. The landlord wasn't exactly thrilled. So Mr. Patel served her a cure or quit notice. She had 3 days to fix all the lease violations or she'd be facing eviction. Suddenly, she got very interested in getting removed from the lease. But here's where it gets good. Remember Jared, Nicole's boyfriend? He reached out again. Turns out he was fed up with Nicole's crap, too. The final straw? She was mocking him to Lauren and the others, calling him her practice boyfriend, until she could find someone better. He dumped her and moved out of their place that same week. Then everything started to fall apart. Without Jared paying half her rent, Nicole couldn't afford her apartment anymore. She tried to crash with Lauren. But that cure or quit notice, having an unauthorized person living there would violate it. Mia's world fell apart, too, when her boyfriend saw the text she'd sent me demanding money. He figured if she was that entitled with me, he didn't want to stick around. They're on a break now. Allison, the ringleader, lost her job. Not because of this mess directly, but because she was spending work hours trash-talking coworkers on social media. HR finally put their foot down. Without her paycheck, she couldn't keep up her lifestyle. Meanwhile, I found a great 1-bedroom apartment closer to work. The rent's cheaper, too. I've been putting my energy into restoring my bike. Should have it done by spring. Also picked up some side electrical jobs that are paying well. Yesterday, Lauren sent me one last text. "I'm moving back in with my parents. The friend group's pretty much done. They started turning on each other when money got tight. Nicole blamed me for ruining everything by dating down. Mia accused Allison of being a bad influence. Allison said they were all ungrateful. I see now how toxic they really were. I should have stood up for you. I'm sorry. Is there any chance we could try again? I didn't reply. Honestly, there's nothing left to say. Dylan helped me move into the new place last weekend. While we were hauling boxes, he said something that really stuck with me. Bro, you didn't just dodge a bullet. You dodged a whole firing squad. He's absolutely right. Oh, and the best part? I ran into Jared at a sports bar last week. We grabbed a beer and swapped stories about our exes. Turns out we've got a lot in common. Both blue-collar guys dating women who thought they were settling. We're planning to hang out again this weekend, maybe check out a motorcycle show. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about drama or payback. Sometimes it's just refusing to be anyone's meal ticket or punching bag. They wanted me to pay? Well, they're all paying now. Just not in the way they expected. My mom called me yesterday and said I sounded happier than I have in years. She's right. I am. Funny how much lighter you feel when you stop carrying people who don't respect you.